Hello and welcome to another installment of the NWBA Digital Demo Series. Today we are doing a joint digital demo for the NWBA and COMAG collab with the Central Oregon Metal Arts Guild. We are going to Goph Albitz in his studio in Bend.
Goph's going to be doing some fold forming. It's all we're doing copper and some silver, but all these techniques are you can scale them up, and you could use sheet steel for this. And he'll be making a cuff very similar to this one, as well as showing some other techniques under his hydraulic press on how to get some shapes. And one of these cuffs, the one he's making today, is going to be up in the auction, and we're going to split the proceeds with COMAG. So, yeah.
So, hello, good morning, Goph.
So let's get started. Here is some of the stuff we'll be working on. I can pick this up. This is the types of folding where you can, this is another kind of folding. This is folding and making a pea pod. We can get into more elaborate things like this. Let's go over and start by, we have to anneal the metal really soft. I'm using 999 fine silver or just copper. 999 fine silver is a silver that has no copper in it. Sterling has like 7% copper, and 999 is just pure silver. And so when it's annealed, it's like butter soft, where sterling never gets that soft. It's for folding. It doesn't really work. So as you'll see when you see the fine silver. Over here, I'll bring these over. I buy cheap ball peen hammers. I think I got them at Harbor Freight because they're not high quality, but then I'm not doing a pounding that needs a high quality hammer. But I use diamond tools and etch into the faces different patterns. And these are my texture hammers. But while I'm forging, at the same time, I'm texturing the metal. So I use using diamond burrs and just carve it into the surface. There's a kit that you can buy at Harbor Freight. They're terrible quality, but making a hammer, you use them once and throw them away, so it doesn't matter. I think this whole set was $25. So then we're gonna put some texture on this. I just want a little texture before we fold it, because once the fold. So I'm texturing right now, just some texture on the metal before we start folding, because once the folds are there, you can't pound on the fold. It would squash it, you know. So, okay, I'm gonna pound it. Okay, we're gonna start folding. So the first thing you want to do is anneal.
Is annealing the same for copper and silver, or do your processes differ?
Then the anneal it's the same. I am not a real technical person. I was 75% self-taught, and so a lot of the things I do are not by the book. It's just how I came up to do it. I've been told you're not supposed to anneal copper this way, and you're not supposed to get it this hot. I don't know why, but this is what I do. And the silver, because there's no alloy in it, you can get it as hot as you want. Can't hurt it. Copper, I'm not sure what this is. I don't know if this is pure copper or not. I'll show you in a second. But you can buy good cheap copper. It's already ready, rolled out. pure, clean, ready to go. It's a little expensive. Copper's not expensive, but for copper, it's expensive. But you could also go to people that do gutter work for houses, and they do copper gutters, and you usually can
Oh,
buy scrap copper from them very, very reasonable at per pound price. So I don't know if you could see how hot I got it, but I got it red hot.
mhm.
Also, as they say, that the books on fold forming tell you to never quench the copper. I always quench it because you don't want the acid to get on your rollers and stuff. But if you dry the stuff, it should be no problem at all. Now let's start with a simple little fold here. I use a polished hammer. Can you see?
Mhm.
I polished the
Okay.
surface, so it should get nice. Clean. And then you just close it with your fingers. If you, let's say this one will just hammer the center tight, leave the ends loose. You need a knife, something to get inside here and open it up. This, yeah, this knife is actually my favorite gardening tool. Okay.
I see it gets work hardened real fast.
It does, yeah. That gives you a basic
Nice.
fold. And you can also come along and give it textures.
Nice. Yeah, it's really nice.
Okay, now we'll take it to the same thing, only I'm going to cross it. That's they call a cross fold.
Yeah.
And we'll do something a little different with this one. Yes, this is work hardening really quickly. But I don't want to stop in a kneel right now, so we'll just go with this.
It's still good.
I'm going to have to kneel real quick. Okay, so
All right. I see it.
what I want to do here is I'm going to open this, but I'm not going to open it clear up like I did over the edge here. I'm going to just kind of open it like this. And then when I pound it down, it's going to fold over. Well, not quite the results I want, but as we go further, I'll get it better. But it folds, instead of just being a ridge, it actually folds over itself. Gives you a little
Yeah.
wider ridge.
Oh, no, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's actually start to make something. Let's make a cuff.
Cool.
I'm going to take a piece of tubing, different sizes you can use. The different sizes, you'll see the results. It'll be obvious as we go further along of a larger or narrower piece. I'm going to start with a larger one because
And Goph, am I mistaken that you have donated a cuff that we're allowed to auction off today?
yes,
Correct?
this one
Okay.
right now that we're making.
Excellent. Okay, in that case, I'm gonna go ahead just in the chats and I'm gonna start the bidding. So thank you very much, super generous. And the proceeds will be split between NWBA and COMAG, if anyone had any questions about that.
Okay,
Thank you.
I almost forgot. For a cuff, you need to put a hem on the edge so you don't have a sharp edge on your wrist. So we're going to do that first. Just a tiny bit, 1/8 inch fold. I hope you're all enjoying this as much as I
Yeah, it's super satisfying to watch these forms take shape.
do. I've been doing this now for not this particular method, but I've been doing metal jewelry and sculpture for 52 years. I never get boring. There's always something to learn.
Mm.
Before that, I was a machinist in the aerospace industry. So that gave me a kind of a knowledge of working metal. And so when I started
Ooh.
doing this, I never went to school. I just started doing it. And so a lot of the things I do, like I said earlier, are not necessarily
Wow.
by the book, by some. Okay, we're trying to get a hem on here.
Mm. Now, is this because you never want to create jewelry that has sharp edges that could poke or hurt?
Yeah, this is
In
to
theory.
make sure it's comfortable.
Mm.
Comfort is, jewelry can look great, but if it's not comfortable, it's not much good. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
idea is wearing it.
Indeed. Well,
This is a
related
nice
to your
soft edge.
formation. Oh, yeah.
Hmm?
Very nice. Oh, I just wanted to say, Kate and Anton said that's so great, talking about your formation.
Oh, hi,
in the
Kate and Anton. Okay, now we'll wrap this around here. Turn. this so you can see. What I'm trying to do here is just to give an edge here that I can get into the vise so I can clamp this.
All right.
I think for the diameter of the tube I had in there was a little too big. So I'm gonna put something else in here and clamp this down. I need an edge to get into the vise.
Okay. I see. And that's what's popping up at that
This-
one seam.
I need this to stick up enough to,
Mhm.
there we go.
Okay.
Okay.
No. And Goph, in your
Yeah.
jewelry journey, where did fold forming and messing with copper come up? Was it early on in your career as a jewelry maker, or was this a later experiment?
No, it was much later. It was what actually was when I took this class with Susan Kingsley, and it was 1989 at the Monterey
Nice.
Peninsula College. I actually taught the jewelry class there, and she came and did a demo of the hydraulic press, and at the same time, there was the use of fold forming, which was just an introduction to it, really. It wasn't
Yeah,
having a little difficulty getting what I'm trying to do here. I'm sorry.
you are fine. I'll let you focus.
We'll get there. As you can see, you'll see when I try to put this in, the diameter of the tube was too big for the width of the metal. It's not enough material to accomplish what I'm trying to do.
Mm. Well, we here at the NWBA and with these digital demos always enjoy seeing things when they don't go smooth and perfect, because so much of what everyone works with is problem solving in the moment. And these things want to not always work with us. Coaxing them to work with us is part of the fun.
I like that, problem solving.
And just to remind everyone that we have started the auction in the chats for this cup. We'll probably keep it open for another 10 or 15 minutes, is my guess.
This should be the easiest part. Literally.
I believe Murphy's Law is always in full effect. But no, we really see the difference now in that having that edge that you were talking about that you could really grab onto in the form. So it's good to see the distinction of what you were shooting for. Okay.
There.
And from Anton
This is what we
and
need.
Kate.
The edge here that will fit in the vise.
Yeah. Perfect. Anton and Kate are asking, what's your favorite material to work with and why? Because you have a lot of materials pass through your hands. Do you have a preference?
My favorite material is 22 karat gold. It's beautiful. It's so malleable. You can do so much with it. And if you like to sell your work, it's really sellable. You put a lot of work in when you put a lot of work in copper, especially in jewelry, the hours don't match up with what people are willing to pay for something in copper. Where if the same material was gold in the same amount of hours, it's a whole other thing. But the price isn't the reason I like to work in gold.
Yeah. Just the recognition of the hours put in seems to come on the consumer side. Folks tend to be more willing to accept it if it comes in gold than copper.
Well, it's more beautiful too. I mean, you know, the Egyptians didn't work in copper. Okay. So now we have this tube finally, and we have these chisels that are rounded so they don't cut. This one was too sharp. And we're going to start by there's no rules. You can just pick something, a pattern.
So I missed a question from Joe Elliott asking what's in the vice straws to protect the copper?
Those are sheet brass.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll show that. Let me show that. It's a good question. Let me show what I did here. These are sheet brass that I bent, made little catches so they stay, formed them to the vise. Okay. So then we take, hi Joe, and let's go, now we'll do down one side. Like I say, there's no rules here. You just make this up and then you'll see what you get. What I always do, I'm not going to do it today, is as I slowly do this, I stop and take pictures of what I'm doing. And then if I want to repeat it, I can figure it out again. No way you're going to remember exactly what you did after 10, 15 different steps. Now I'm going to, well.
No, I'm trying to.
Oh, you're doing that on purpose?
Yeah.
You want me to move it out of the way?
No, I just want to.
Oh. Yeah, that helps a lot. Thanks.
Okay. Now I'm going to use a curved chisel. And let's go in from the side with that. This is all in the list of different kinds of fold forming. This is called dimpling and stretching.
So, dimpling and stretching is what we're working on now.
Okay, let's go back in now and let's see. Let's think of something else to do. Let me pick another tool. Let's just use a regular center punch. And go in the flats here and we'll put a dimple in to make it true to the name.
Nice. We do appreciate the literal approach around here.
You're going to ask me how many pounds per square inch or something like that. I can't tell you. But okay, I'm going to go back to the straight chisel now and really give a accentuation to every other one of these marks I made.
It seems correct in terms of layers that you work on the larger texture and then this work towards smaller texture on
Yeah,
top.
I kind
Or
of gave
can you
it.
mix that up?
Well, the first just kind of developed the pattern. Now I'm accentuating some of the marks.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this is going to look like either. You won't either when you try this. You'll see that you can get a feeling after doing it several times what's going to come out like, but every time's a surprise.
We do love a grand reveal.
Huh?
We do love a grand reveal.
Well, oh, I thought my light went out. Kellen's putting my lights out there. This process is the other jewelry I make, which is a fabricated, very heavily textured silver and gold, and it has cracks in it. And it's the thing I like about it. It's a hand fabricated piece of jewelry, and it's the same thing. It's totally spontaneous. You never know exactly what you're going to come out with. The metal dictates the finished piece. So here we are. I could do more, but this is a good start. Okay.
That's beautiful.
Now we're gonna anneal this again because I'll never get this open. Don't shut that off.
It smells like gas.
Oh, it's leaking. Okay, gotcha. And in that case, would you please shut this off?
Well, as you're annealing that, Kate and Anton followed up with a question on, what are your thoughts? You have a preference for gold, it seems, but what are your thoughts on silver or platinum, for instance?
Silver, I love silver. In fact, what I mostly make is silver jewelry that has fused the 22 karat gold on it. So that the bulk of the metal is silver. It's then you can, it's easy to texture, but also it's easy to patina in colors. The gold doesn't patina, especially 22 karat. You can't get a patina on 14 or 18 because it has copper in it. But 22 karat, it's gold. It's gold. So yeah, I like sulfur better. Platinum, I'm not a fan of platinum to work in. It's an incredibly beautiful metal for the finished product. And the capabilities of platinum are endless as far as because of its strength. It has such tensile strength that's when you saw the old work that was done back in the 20s and 30s with all the filigree work, you could work super fine and it had strength. And in fact, during the Depression, when platinum was unaffordable, that's when they came up with white gold, which is supposed to simulate platinum at that time. That's a metal that I do not like to work in. Zero. It's brittle. To me, it's fake gold, and I don't care for it at all. But that's a personal thing.
Excellent. I will say when the torch was going, it got a little garbled. What was it that you were saying about bringing out the differences in being able to bring out color between silver and gold?
Oh, I work in my other jewelry that I'm doing. I'll show some examples of it. See that how easy it works now. I could have never done this before. Annealing. The 22 karat gold, you can't patina because there's no alloy, or there's very little alloy. And silver, you can make it black, you can make it blue. If you dip it in, when you're doing a liver of sulfur, to make it black, if you dip it in ammonia first, it will go into purples.
I don't know necessarily why folks would, but does gold hold enamel the way that copper does?
Gold is incredible for enamel. And the finer the gold, the better, because there's no contamination of alloys to inhibit the enamels. Some of the most beautiful enamel work I've ever seen was done by a Frenchman in the Art Nouveau era, Lalique. And he would take and solder the gold onto copper, the gold wire, and then fill the enamel, use transparent enamels, and filled the enamels between the wires and fired it. And then when it was all done, he put it in, I believe sulfuric, or maybe it was nitric acid, and it would eat all the copper away and just leave the gold wire and the transparent enamel like a stained glass window.
Oh, wow.
His most famous piece is a dragonfly with the wings of the dragonfly transparent. Okay, we're getting there.
Well, Kate and Anton said, thank you so much for your responses. And John Dorfeld was wondering, I believe, what are you quenching in? Are you quenching in water after you're done annealing?
Oh, no, that was what I was saying, that the book says you're not supposed to put it in there. It's a pickle. It's not an actual acid. It's very similar to the old sulfuric acid pickle, but it's a non-acid, so it doesn't eat your clothes up and stuff. You can actually stick your fingers in it. It's not recommended. We're trying to get this out flat. Working on it. Okay, we're there. Okay.
Oh, here, bring the camera closer. Yeah. Oh,
So
so lovely.
Now you can see where I did the texturing beforehand. See, there would be no way to get in there now and put your texture in. So that was the object of that. So let's go over here now.
Mm. So nice.
Thank you. So,
Mhm.
so that we can stay on one track and not be moving all over the studio, we'll set this aside for a little bit and we'll stay back here and do some more pieces. And then we'll move to the other part of the shop where we'll form things. So let's go to the next piece. Let's see, what should we do here?
All right. Well, I will go ahead and we've got just a few more minutes on this first cuff auction bid. And we'll start wrapping it up in the chats.
I'm not going to explain right now what I'm doing because I already explained what I did. This is the same process. I'm just going to power through it.
I feel like for the safety of our viewers at home, I will maybe we see Goph using this knife to open up and manipulate his folds. I'm assuming that knife is very blunted. Is that correct, Goph? That you're not using the sharpest knife? I'm assuming you're not using the sharpest knife in your studio to
no,
act as opening and closing.
this is not knife at all.
Mhm.
It's not sharp at all.
Yeah,
And
just for our viewers at home.
Smaller stuff, this is a butter knife.
Nice. Cool. They're just so lovely. Mm. All right, so I see some cross folds going on. It's taking shape.
Now this time I'm going to get a fold by actually putting it back in the vise and bend it over. Well, that wasn't successful. There we go. So now I got this.
Oh, that's, yeah.
And then we'll open it up.
Goodness.
Now this piece we're going to use in the hydraulic press. I'm just making some material to then be formed.
So, we have quite a bit more going on very rapidly for your cup. Oh, that's some beautiful forms. Almost looks like a bird. It's so pretty. I love how you get to choose whether you want to present the front side or the back side. Well, I guess you get to determine which side is front and back.
What I'm doing now is just making some material for the next process. This is actually a wood vise. I use it instead of the metal vise because it has a long jaw and it's smooth and it has a sharp edge. It's not good for pounding, but it's great for folding.
Do you have a touch mark you use on your jewelry pieces or a
I mean,
stamp?
like a stamp? I have a stamp
Yes, a
of
stamp.
I have a stamp of my logo, and then I sign every piece and date it.
Oh,
The dating thing started actually as a safety measure for myself. After all these years of making this stuff, a piece would come back to the store and say, I just bought this 2 years ago and now it's broken. And I'd say, ask the store owner to look inside. And they said, gee, it looks like you bought it 15 years ago. There's so much more that can be done with this. I'm just showing you the basic. I have to go back here and anneal real quick, and then we'll go to another station.
cool. As you transition from one station to the next, Joe is asking a question. I was wondering too, what tool do you use to sign your work?
Yeah, I think it's called an electric pencil. It's a little etching tool, just a cheap little buzzer thing that has a carbide point on it. I'll show you when we go to the other side.
All right.
Okay, this is the silver.
Mhm.
So I've taken a disc grinder and kind of just roughed up the edge so we don't have a fine finished edge on one side.
Mhm.
I don't want to go too far into time wise because we want to finish these pieces, but let me show you what can be done with silver. I take a piece of paper the size of the silver so that you know what you're doing, so you can see what you're doing. So let's say we're going to fold it like this. So I take fold one. And then we're going to put a curve in it. So we'll take, and this won't be a fold, but this will be more of a curl like this. Now, you no longer have a bracelet. So you need to get that to straighten out somehow. This is why we work in paper. So then if we go, let's say like that, that's not working either. Well, that didn't work. So we'll need to come over here and maybe put a fold over here. That would be fold number 2. What I'm trying to do is get the thing to be straight. So this could work.
Mhm.
We would then cut this off and this off.
Nice.
Okay. So now, let me go fold this. You want to follow me again? Okay. I'm going to go fold this, and then we'll come back and we'll do the curve. Okay. So our fold was like that. And it went this way. I'm using a tapered punch here, and we're going to make this curve. I'm not going to finish this silver cup today. We can't do everything in our time frame here, so but I wanted to show you what can be done.
Yeah.
Now these cups that I make, I've done quite a few of these. I then fuse gold onto them and set diamonds in them, etc. I'll show you some finished products. They become almost lacy, like it's very feminine as so this is going to be part of the cup now. And I'll cut. So then I'll come in and I'll cut this off. We'll cut this off. It'll be a cup about this wide. And then I have done ones like this where I've added a piece of gold in here. That diamond's down here. And if we get a chance, we'll get back to this, but let's go proceed with the copper now.
That's wonderful. Well, and when someone, for instance, John Dorfeld, who just won your other cuff, if they wanted to measure themselves for a cuff, is that just the circumference of your wrist is what you're looking for?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Ooh la la.
Not tight either. So yeah, this one here is just a simple fold, double folded once, folded back, and that's your gold. This is another one. This has got the bends, the creases, and the like we've been showing you, and then this has a fold.
Lovely.
Now this one is what we're doing here. Only the curved part's reversed, but this is what this will look like
Yeah,
if it was finished.
it's really wonderful.
Okay, now let's go this cuff. And then we'll go to a hydraulic press and show what can be done with this.
I will say I love this massive mandrel for your arm mandrel. That's cool.
Oh, the
That form
bracelet
is
mandrel.
neat.
These
Mhm.
bracelet mandrels are made in India, and they use them in their lap. Just sitting there, put them, you know, pound on them. And
Yeah.
I welded this foot on it that fits in the, what's that?
Hardy hole.
Smart.
Fits in the hardy hole, so that I can use it on my end. Now we
Excellent.
don't want to sharpen like this, so we're gonna cut this. And when I get the dimension, I'll cut it so it's actually the right size, but I just want to show how it's done.
All right.
So you have a curved edge like this on the finish, but now this is sharp. So I use just plain old, whatever this is, 10 gauge electrical wire, flatten it out and solder it on the end. So if you have a nice, comfortable,
Oh,
you want comfort.
yeah. Indeed. Well, then also add something to it. It's really nice.
One of the things, my work sells for a little more than a lot of more crafty work, but it's not a lot different in some cases, like this piece. However, I think the one thing that is a big difference in why I get a little more for my work is I finish it. You know, I don't leave sharp edges. I put finished edges everywhere. The hem, it's a little more work, but it's a much more quality piece of jewelry in the end.
Oh, yeah.
So who's the fellow that bought this?
This is one of our members, NWBA members, John Dorfeld. He's a wonderful person and excellent smith and has his hands in all kinds of things. He restores hit and miss, you know, engines and does a lot of steam shows. He's a fascinating fellow.
Well, and what's his name?
John
Oh, John.
Dorfeld.
Is he there, John? So this is your
He is
bracelet.
here.
So now
Oh.
we have a choice. I can make this a dark like this, dark black or brown, or we can go for a Chinese, what's called Chinese red. It's not bright red, but it's got the dark black colors and then some streaks of red in it. I would highly recommend that. I'm gonna do it that way, and if you don't like it, we can go back to what finish you want. We'll make this custom. Okay, so this is the hydraulic press built by Lee Marshall for Bonnie Doon Corporation. Bonnie Doon has now been bought out by Rio, and so you buy these through Rio now. They're the same quality piece that he originally designed. This stuff here is called urethane pads. It doesn't seem flexible, but it's very dense. I forget what the PSI pressure is to make it give way, but it has, they're what would you call? There's different densities. This one's really dense. I think there's 4 different densities, and the different densities, well, I'll show you what they do, and then you'll understand what the density's for. And what I do when I'm working on something like this is I make sample sheets and I write down what I did so that if it goes awry and you have to change it, you know what you did, and you can eventually get to a finished product that works for you, and you'll know how you got there. So then you take plexiglass. It's got the paper on it, but it's plexiglass. You saw out your design, your shape that you want. The plexiglass is not very thick, so if you want to go deeper, I use 2 pieces of plexiglass. And then you cut the design out in brass. Polish the edges of the brass so it doesn't cut the metal when it's being pushed into it. In this case, if I'm making a bottle, this isn't the bottle, this is out of this, but if you're making a bottle, you're going to have 2 halves soldered together. So you just make the 1 piece of plexiglass, but 2 pieces of brass, and you flip it over and you make one and the other half. So let's see if we can actually get something here. Sometimes it's not as successful as others. You look on here and you pick out your design out of your folds. I think that looks pretty cool. There's one thing about the press I have to find out. How do you replenish the hydraulic oil? I've had this press for 30 years and I've never replaced the oil, and I'm sure it needs it. I'm listening slowly because if you go too far, it's going to pop or break, and I'm trying to hear that. In fact, I'm going to pull one of these out. That's as far as it's going to go.
How long have you had that press, Goph?
30 years. Well, 1989 is when I took that class. There you go.
All right. Wow. Oh, that's lovely.
So what I would do then is I'll fold a very similar textured piece, make some different, maybe kind of fold. Wait, can you reach the little one? Yeah. Now this particular piece, it popped. It split, but I actually love the split, so I'm leaving that as part of the bottle. There was the one side like this one, and then when I made the other half, the thing shattered, and so we leave that as part of it. This one is not quite deep enough. So what I would do then is anneal it, put it back in there, and do it again. I don't know if we need to go further with this. What do you think?
Tell us the story of where you
Huh? Oh yeah,
Tell us how you broke that.
this is great. So I was also wanted to show how to make a half dome amulet that you could make a necklace out of. And I needed to get this pressed into something. So I was using a piece of tubing, but the tubing caused the piece to curl up around it and it wouldn't flow and it couldn't slide to raise up in there. Part of my tooling knowledge, what we used to build was called deep draw forming, where you made like cans. So this wasn't working. So I said, I need something flat that has a round hole in it. And I'm looking around my shop to find something. And look at from my lathe, not realizing it was cast iron.
Nice.
I stuck it in there and just to let you know, you shouldn't be just experimenting with stuff that you don't know what it is. This was cast iron, and it exploded when I put the pressure on it. It could have been
Okay.
dangerous because it
Lessons
also could have been
learned.
dangerous because, as you see, I'm not wearing safety goggles.
Mhm. Oh, we're glad you got away with that very important lesson with your eyesight.
But yeah, this doesn't go to OSHA, right? What else don't I have on that I should have? Let's see. Gloves? No, I don't have those either. Well, what should we do next?
Well, we do have a question about silver. John, who got the cuff, who said Chinese red is wonderful for Dolores. She indeed would like that color. That he has a silver dollar with all of the markings worn off. Can that be worked?
Yes, silver dollars. Is it an American silver dollar?
Oh, we'll just assume it is unless he tells me it is not in the comments. If it is.
Well, different silver dollars have different alloys, and that they are made from coin silver. And pure silver is 99. What we're using here is 999 fine silver. So there's like 1% of who knows what got in there. Actually, not even 1/10 of 1%. Coin silver, American coin silver, is 87.5% silver. Sterling silver is 92.5%, no, 92.25%, or 925. So they put different alloys in different coins. German silver, because it went back to the times of the war, it's way low in silver. You almost can't use it. It's too brittle. There's not enough silver in it. But it depends on the alloy and what make of the coin is. An American coin at 87% is still very workable. It's much stiffer than sterling, but it's still a beautiful silver. Here's some of the red. So we're going to do that. The bracelet, because of the ripples in it, is going to get more of this blacks in there with the red. I think you're going to love it. If you don't love it, like I say, we can always make it black.
Oh, that's nice.
Here's
pretty shade.
this is a fine silver cuff with a little gold on it that's fold formed. It's very soft.
Lovely.
Then again, I put my edges on it.
Yeah.
And this was the simple folds like this is. And there's another process up for a cuff that's got a fold going the reverse way and then the tight folds, and it makes a beautiful cuff too. There's so many ways. I mean, the whole thing is just do it. You know, you can't go wrong. If you make a mistake, make the mistake 3 times, and then that's the design. Here's another piece that cracked while I was making it. And these were, let me get a picture real quick. So this was a sculpture I did. I used to do a show in Chicago called SOFA. And SOFA is an international art show. It stands for Sculpted Object in Functional Art. So we were jewelers, but they wanted us to have something more. So what I made was a sculpture, which is these.
That's gorgeous.
These seed pods, and then where the crack happened, I put pearls in it with the seeds.
Oh, wow.
And then, so it was a functional piece of art. On this leaf was a gold grasshopper that came off, and you could wear it as a brooch. And if you look over this was another
That's
piece.
Wonderful.
This was a similar piece. This was a hand-raised bowl. When I was working with, we had the workshop here on how to make these raised bowls, and I was pounding like a crazy person.
Wilbur, right?
Huh?
Greg Wilbur?
Yeah. What was Greg Weber.
Wilbur.
Huh?
Wilbur.
Oh, Wilbur, excuse me. Shame on me. Greg Wilbur. And I'm like, everybody's pound, pound, pound. And I'm like going crazy, just beating on the copper. And he came over and he says, you know, if you keep beating like that so quickly, you're going to work hard in the metal and it's going to wrinkle up and crack on you. And I said, really? That's my style. So this is what we ended up with. We were making perfect bowls. And then this,
That's
this is
excellent.
a silver tree, but so that it was functional. The flowers come out and these are earrings.
Oh,
And this
goodness.
comes out
Anton and Kate said it.
and this
This
is
is
a bird.
amazing. Oh, wow. Anton and Kate say so inspiring. It really is, Goph. Talk about sculpture you can wear.
But
You
that
put the
show,
fun and functional art.
to be part of that show was, I mean, when I got there, I had no idea what I was going to. I was invited and I started setting up and I'm walking around looking at the work in there and went, wow, how did I get to be here? This is really something. If you ever get a chance to go to Chicago and see the sofa show, it's quite amazing. Okay, so now
Awesome.
let's go see if that water's boiling. Oh, I got to write that down. It was 8.5 inches.
8.5 inches.
The section.
For whole wrist circumference.
Okay. Wow. Eight and a half inches. Just stay still. Okay. So here's one of my bracelet samples, like a ring sizer. This is a bracelet sizer. And we got here, there we go. The little less than 8. This is a little bigger than 8.5 inches. So this is what we will make this. Oh, wow. Look at that. It's perfect.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's exactly
Excellent.
the right size. So
Oh, wonderful. It was meant for her.
what we're going to do now is, if I get to this edge, great. But if not, I can add that later. But we're going to do the patina on this right now. So you want a pot with boiling water. Let's see if this is going to work. But let's make sure this is going to submerge. It's not. We need to get a little more water in there. Okay, what we want now is a rolling boil of water. It's basically, you get the copper to above red hot. You want to go to orange hot, which is just short of melting.
And we can definitely see the shape being illuminated. And we'll see it, we'll be able to watch it as it starts to glow. It's wonderful. It's starting to catch a little of the heat now, we see. And Goph has said that he is not just heating this up to a red, he's going to heat it up to a bright orange. However, you see he's careful not to spend too much. We sure can see.
So there's the color. See? Now I'm going to get the whole thing in. Ordinarily I use a larger torch, but it's even louder, so you wouldn't hear anything.
Oh, well, thank you for making adjustments for this today. He is not resting that torch in one spot for too long.
No.
You don't want to get this far. You can burn stuff up.
The thing can collapse if you let this heat.
Nice.
Okay, the water is boiling. There we go.
All right. He's keeping it that heat. Nice. Huh.
Let's see if we got it.
Yeah. And this is just plain water, correct?
Yes, just plain, yeah.
Wow.
We got some reds. I think I will probably do it one more time with
Oh,
my
yeah.
bigger torch. But you can see some
Oh.
reds in here. When I, oh.
Mm.
This is a double aught steel wool.
Mhm. And I tell you what, if you can hold it up on a spot that's red and let it rest for a little bit, and that way we'll be able to get that clear view whenever you're ready. But
A
how
little muddy.
nice.
I'm going to actually do it one more time to bring out a little more brighter reds in these areas. And it doesn't
Yeah.
have much black. Let me show them this side. We want to bring out some of the blacks a little stronger.
Mhm.
So I'll do it again, but we don't need to go through all that. Because I still have to solder these on, and then I'll do it one time. As I was explaining, the spontaneous work I do in my jewelry is because the metal is forced through a rolling mill until it becomes so brittle that it basically starts deconstructing. Ordinarily, the process you would want to keep annealing as you're going to keep the metal soft. I do just the opposite. I let it work hard so much that it starts cracking. And out of these cracks, I then design each piece. This piece here was literally coming apart.
Mm.
And I do
That's
the
lovely.
same in the rings.
Oh, I just love how you get that reveal. It's so pretty.
And then here's a pendant.
Mm.
This came about,
It,
originally I was starting to make, but first time to make silver and gold jewelry, and I was melting down all the old silver in the shop. And because it had solder, et cetera, it was contaminated metal. At the end of the day, I had sheets and sheets and sheets of silver that was all broken and cracked and falling apart. And I was sitting here rather discouraged, thinking, well, I guess I got to go buy some new silver. And I started looking at it and went, wait a minute, I think I like this. let's
yeah.
work with these cracks. So this is what the metal looks like when I first roll it out. And then I get a crack in it, and then I cut around the crack.
I love the idea of learning the rules, but then also, you know, when you consciously break them, and when you say, no, this is actually something that's working for me. It's gorgeous.
Here's some turquoise and diamonds. And this is a new patina I've come up with. It's not the plain white silver, but then when I quench it, just like you saw me do, when I anneal it, out of the acid, it comes out white. And I suddenly went, same thing. I went, why polish that? The white's beautiful. Let's just leave it like that. So I used the plain white silver with the polished gold.
Oh, wow.
Any questions I can answer? Because I think that concludes most
Yeah.
of.
Well, first, we have some things I'm going to share from the audience, but I do want to ask if people would like to see more of your work. What is your website? Is it gophstudios.com?
It is.
Okay.
And
And
it's
that
spelled
is for them.
Goph, yeah. And I'm on Instagram also.
And brilliant, Goph. Thanks a million. This has been simply fantastic.